Hello everyone. I'm going to be doing a review on the Twilight Saga, the 5 films based on the books the Twilight series. Apologies for the look as well. Hair's a bit growing, and this needs shaving. So, right, let's get to it. Sorry, face. When I first got with my missus, she said to me, "You need to watch the Twilight films because I've never seen them," and I pinky promised that I would. And so it's been nearly a year, and then she said, "Right, we're gonna watch them." I was like, "Okay, I'll watch them." So we had a Twilight-a-thon from last night. We watched the first 2, and then today we watched the last 3. Um, so what can I say? I went into them knowing I'm not the target audience for this film, like films. When I think of vampires, I personally think of my go-to one is I love 30 Days a Night. That's my personal. They're vampires. They're like these monsters that they don't sneak about really. They just, if they know you're in there and they're hungry, they dive in through the window, drag you out, get you, sort of thing. And so this one, I had to go in sort of open-minded as I could, but I still had those sort of I was set in my ways of that's vampires to me. This isn't vampires. Yeah, I've heard all the stuff. Like you go in thinking, oh, the sparkling in the sun, really, and they can climb trees like frogs. I don't know, monkeys even. And they're super fast. I get like vampires are strengthened and stuff, but some of the stuff they're doing, like lightning powers because you're a vampire, air bending, earth bending. It was cool, but you're like, these aren't vampires, these are just demons, I guess. And so anyway, okay. Main point: did I enjoy them? I didn't hate them. I went in thinking I'm gonna absolutely hate these movies, and I didn't like them, but I didn't dislike them. I was just kind of watching them, and there were points of the films where I just really didn't like the just it's hard to explain. Like, okay, I'll tell about the things I liked about Twilight. First 2 films I didn't like. I just didn't like. I couldn't get into them. They like the first one had the story, you kind of got where it was going, but there was never sort of a. I was never attached, and I guess you have to be to these characters in order to get him. Second film, I didn't like Jacob. I thought he was a dick. I get who he was, and he's trying to protect her and stuff, and he's in love with her and that, but he was just so immature. He's just like, everything she said is always like, he's like a one line and then just fucks off and leaves him miserable. And like, if you love someone, you don't treat them that way. But the third film, I was okay with it. I thought it was a decent flick. I thought the whole thing about the Valtoris, the vampire family. There's like these head vampire council people, dudes, things, ladies, men, gentlemen, whatever, and like they have these set rules, and like if you want to die and you're a vampire, you have to provide a reason why you want to die, and then they'll kill you. Like that's the way a vampire has to die, because it's hard to kill a vampire, and so they go to these people who specially do it. And so, but they were like the vampires. They were like the classic vampires. They had these laws, and they lived in caves and stuff. And I'm not saying every vampire has to live in like a creepy castle with lanterns and shit, but like the way they just wear, like one shot I thought was really effective. I actually genuinely really liked. Was after this, the main characters have left the Valtoris or whatever, and they're getting guided through to leave this lair. You see all these tourists coming through, like about 20, 30 of them, and they're like clicking their phones and looking around, and it must be like they think, oh, they're on a tour. And the shot like pans, like the people are walking past the main characters, and all you hear behind them after a second is just, and there's nothing on the screen, it's just like blood curdling screens and tearing and fighting and stuff. And I thought that's really good. That's like, that's vampire shit. And then the 4th film happened, and I was just like, oh, it's back to being shit. And but anyway, I'm talking about the good stuff. The 5th film, the big epic fight scene was epic. It was like, this is cool shit. There's wolves, and there was heads getting torn off and bending and stuff. Even though I was against the big vampires, but it was still cool to watch. And it was just a big kick off, and then it was a dream, and you're like, well, not a dream, but like, a thing, and you're just like, oh god, like that was the closest to grittiness this film had. I also liked in the fourth film her transformation into a vampire. When you see inside her, like her blood's changing and her veins are destroying and then repairing themselves into vampire veins. I thought that was very good. And of course, as Joe White has said to me, the laugh, the big bad guy's laugh. He is talking to the daughter of Bella and Edward, and says blah 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 blah. Oh, you're thingy. And then when he discovers who she is, and he's been serious throughout 5 films, just like deadpan serious, like sort of, I'm the boss. He's not a dick or anything, but he's just like, he's a serious guy. Let out this laugh, and my god, it was just fantastic. It was just, I don't know, it's just like, oh, but it just went on. It was just out of the blue, and it was dead loud, and he was like, oh, like, what the fuck? And that made me laugh. I thought that was dead funny. Right, why? Okay, let's make it interesting. What I didn't like about Twilight. The reason I didn't find myself engrossed in the story or attached was, for the majority of, I'd say 3 out of 5 of the films, there was no like end goal. Like, okay, for example, Harry Potter. There's quite 7 films like that. But from the very first moment in Harry Potter, the first film, you were aware that no matter what happens throughout the story, it'll end with a confrontation with Voldemort. He has to have this collide. He has to see who's the tougher person. They have to decide, and there will be a fight between them, essentially, or some sort of thing. One of them has to die. So you've always got that underlying main plot going on, and everything else links into that. Whereas these, I know this is how the story is written, but it just didn't have that sort of main purpose till towards the end of each film. Like, it was just a lot of filler and stuff going on, and then at the very end, 20 minutes, oh, here's the story. Which is fine, but for 5 films each to do that, bar the third one, because the third one had it from the start. It had it sort of going through. I thought it was very effective. The third, I actually, I like the third film. I like the third. I'll give it that. It's not great, but out of them all, like, it was the one I sat there and I thought, this has stuff going for it. It's got a few good things, and it's not bad. It's got a plot. And it was getting a bit dark. It was like this darker middle film, I guess. That's why I probably liked it. But it was just good. It was a good movie. But the rest of them just didn't have it. The last one did. And the fourth one, I thought they could have done the trapped in the house thing better. Like, it was just like, oh, they're outside, and we've got to stay inside. They didn't, like, do sort of, they could have gone into, like, how is she mentally holding up? How is, like, like, they just kind of kept it very basic. How, I don't know, just, she's trapped in the house, oh, here's the baby. It was just, but they kept that message just gone for ages. It was, I don't know. I thought they could have done, like, this, never mind, rambling with noise. But, okay, first film, okay, sets up the story, but, that's about it. I thought it was okay. Second one, didn't like, can't stand Jacob. Third one, liked, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. Fourth one, just nothing was going on really. Like, it was setting it up, but I thought the fourth and fifth one could have just been one film. I get that you make more money out of 2 films, but make them good. Have more in it. Fifth film, liked it because of the fight and the laugh. There was, that was what all of them needed. They needed something going on. I think it was the third film. Or was the second one where they had to fight in the mountains with the ginger vampire? That fight was cool as well. Overall, rating for the Twilight Saga, just meh. I'm not the target audience, so I'm not gonna love it. Would I watch it again? Probably not. If I get the choice, I'd pick something else. That's my sort of rating. If it was on TV and people were watching it, I wouldn't flick over. You can talk about it, but it's a film you don't have to really pay attention, and you could kind of pick up what's going on. But it's the bits it does well. It does very well, but there's just not enough of that. That's me. Sorry. I'm trying to think since I'm sure I have the point out. No. Right, well, I'm gonna go watch 30 Days a Night. So I'll love you and leave you.